Most of our suffering never actually happens. Instead, it happens here, inside the mind.
And the body responds to the perceived threat in the same way it would respond to a real one. To the nervous system, having 100 plus emails in your inbox is the same danger as being chased by a tiger.
And the Maharishi Patanjali named this 1500 years ago. He called it vikalpa.
It's illusion based on no real experience with no truth behind it.
And so the story you tell yourself about something becomes more real to you than the thing.
And so the practice of yoga isn't to stop thinking. It's to stop confusing the thinking with the truth.
This is vikalpa, the layer of mind that we mistake for reality.
Ooh.
I've practiced yoga consistently for over 10 years now. And I know that the most important part of building consistency is community. Other people to hold you accountable. And second to that is a solid practice plan to help you experience the true benefits of the practice. And this is exactly why I created the OmSom App. It's a free study tool to help you learn the Sanskrit and the philosophy of yoga. Plus, it's the home to our online community, which we call Sadhana Sangha. Every single month, the team and I offer 5 practices, and I guide you through an asana workshop as well as a subtle technique, and we translate a few lines of the Yoga Sūtra together. It's honestly been my dream to create this app since I started teaching, because this is what I truly needed when I started practicing. So check it out in the show notes or just search OmSom in the App Store. That's OmSom. Now, back to the episode. Namaste. Welcome to the OmSom Yoga and Ayurveda podcast. My name is Aaron and this is my friend Paige, and we love yoga. We're yoga teachers. We have this beautiful studio. It's called OmSom. And if you listen and you live in Melbourne, maybe you might live closer than you think.
We're in Berwick.
We're in Berwick and we teach yoga classes
Southeast
here.
suburbs. We do teach yoga classes. We get so many people that are just like, I've been listening to your podcast for years and I live 15 minutes away and I never knew. So check out on the maps where Berwick is if you live in Melbourne and come and visit us.
Yeah, and if you don't live in Melbourne, you just listen to the ad, join Sadhana Sangha, download the app, practice with us online. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about vikalpa today to start to move toward the ending of our month of exploration around moksha, which is liberation. And so vikalpa is one of the vrittis that Patanjali names in the Yoga Sūtra.
And vrittis is the fluctuations of the mind.
The fluctuations of the mind, exactly. And it's specifically the fluctuation of the mind that doesn't have any basis in reality. It's, you know, someone telling you about something and then you imagining what that might be like, right? Vikalpa is our imagination.
Yeah.
And sometimes imagination is fantastic, but other times imagination is absolutely not helpful to us whatsoever. And we need to be a little bit more practical and logical and seek out the truth of the experience. So let us begin with a beautiful story from the Yoga Vasistha. In this story, the Yoga Vasistha, there is a king, and this king, his name is Lavana.
Lavana.
We used to go to a studio called Lavana. That's where it comes from in my mind. Lavana is his name.
I would assume.
Anyway, and a magician enters and he comes and he waves a peacock feather in front of the king's eyes. And in a matter of just a couple of seconds, the king falls asleep and he lives an entire life.
Interesting.
And he's cast out of his city and he's an outcast and he's wandering as a hermit through the forest, and then he meets a woman and he marries and he raises a child, and then there's a famine and he watches all of the people that he loves starve and he loses everything, and then he grieves the loss of his family and his friends, and then he dies. And then he wakes up again on his throne.
Oh, interesting.
And it's only been a couple of seconds. But he's like dripping with sweat and he's filled with terror and his body's filled with grief. And he's longing for this family that never existed.
Wow.
But it only existed in his mind.
Interesting.
And so this whole experience that he had, it wasn't there, but the grief that he felt was totally, totally real. And this story in the Yoga Vasistha is kind of built to describe this idea of vikalpa, which which Patañjali talks about in the Yoga Sūtra, that we can build a world in our mind that has no basis in reality. And the experience of living in that world in our mind is the same experience as living through it in reality, right? Your body doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Your body is just taking the signals of the mind, and the mind has evolved enough and become powerful enough to override the sensory experience and to override the reality.
It's pretty crazy.
Totally. Okay, so vikalpa, let's break down the word.
Yeah.
V means to move away from, to pull apart. And kalp it's a long period of time. Yeah. But it also means to arrange or to construct. Right? So it's a mental construction. Right? It's a period of time that you've been apart. Disassociated from reality. You've been detached from reality for a period of time, a kalpa. A kalpa is specifically 4.2 billion years.
Oh.
It's a day in the life of Brahma.
Interesting.
Right? So it's an entire cycle that you've lived out in your mind.
Right.
Okay, and so it's one of the Panchavritti in the Yoga Sutra, which are pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smritayaha.
And if you remember from last week, we spoke about pancha, meaning 5, and then vritti, like we just said, is the fluctuations of the mind. So these are the 5 fluctuations of the mind.
Okay, so the first one is called pramarna. Pramarna means direct experience. You haven't had an experience, or you've heard a testimony from someone who is a valid source of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? It's the right knowledge of the experience. Viparyaya is the wrong knowledge. You've just misunderstood completely. You have no idea what you're talking about. Vikalpa is a type of knowledge that comes from words alone with no basis in reality. Right? So it's like gossip, but it's basically it's just imagination, right?
Yeah.
You're imagining something and then putting that imagination onto the reality that you're experiencing. Right? I could imagine that Paige is a brunette. And then when I look at her, I'm like, yeah, checks out. She's a brunette. And it's just like, it's so obviously not true, but I've convinced myself that it is.
And that's vikalpa or that's viparyaya?
That's vikalpa.
Oh, okay. Did we talk about viparyaya?
Viparyaya means that you've just completely mistaken the truth.
Right.
You've seen something else.
Yeah, okay.
But you haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
You just saw it wrong.
So viparyaya is you've seen it wrong.
Yeah.
Like almost like ignorance.
Yeah, or you've been given wrong knowledge.
Yeah, true. Like purposefully or unpurposefully. Yeah, okay.
And then vikalpa is more so it's imagination.
Yeah,
it feeds your imagination. You build this world inside your head about it, and then you project that onto it.
Gotcha.
As opposed to just seeing it wrong.
Yeah.
And then we have nidra, which is you're asleep, and then smriti, which means you're recalling something from memory.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Patanjali gives these as the 5 vrittis, the 5 processes that go on in the mind. So vikalpa and viparyaya, like this distinction I think is really important for us to just dive into a little bit more. So vikalpa is actually no perception at all. You're not even seeing what's going on.
True.
Right? It's just the words producing a reality inside your mind.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas viparyaya means you're seeing it wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like maybe like we often use like the idea of like lampshades in the yoga metaphors, and maybe viparyaya like is like the essence of like being colorblind. Yeah. And so you see a red lamp as a yellow lamp, for example. It's like you're seeing it wrong. Yeah. But vikalpa is like that there's like this veil over it. So you can't even perceive the lampshade. You're just like imagining what color it is and like making it up in your mind.
Based on words.
Yeah.
It could be like you're looking at yoga and you're like, yoga is asanas.
Yes.
Yoga is just doing stretches and poses. It's like you're seeing it wrong.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any context to understand it.
True.
But then you could also then just imagine all of these things about what yoga is meant to be.
Yeah.
There should be this purple light above my head, and I should glow like an angel, and I should grow wings, and I should be levitating, and I should be floating through the skies. And it's just like, none of that is yoga. You've just imagined it.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Okay. Now, many people experience vikalpa on an everyday basis.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? Someone says something, someone looks at you in a certain way. Paige is sitting across from me right now. She might narrow her eyes. She might scrunch her eyebrows. She might kind of hunch her chest a little bit. And then I take that input and I say, oh, Paige must be angry at me. That's why she's narrowing her eyes. Paige is angry at me because I didn't, wipe my pee off the floor in the toilet yesterday. And Paige has been just bottling up this anger about that moment, and she's about to burst and she's going to tell me off about it. And I'm sure that she just hates my guts right now. And it's just like, none of that is true.
Yeah.
But we all go through this
it's
all
like
the
the
time.
attachment to a story that you create.
You create a story that has no basis in reality.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, where a lot of people get stuck is that they don't communicate. Right? You have this interaction with someone.
It's true.
I think this about you that I created in my mind. You think this about me, which you created in your mind.
Yeah.
None of them are the reality.
It's true.
And if we just live in those story worlds, it makes it very easy for us to just cast that person out as a demon. This is a bad person because they did this thing to me that I created in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to deal with that tension.
Yeah.
Right? I can just go on with my life believing this fantasy that I created about this person. Instead of coming into pramarna, which is to then have a direct experience of that person and to say, hey, this story has come up for me.
Yeah.
And this is what I think that you think about me.
Yeah.
And they can say, oh, actually, no.
Yeah.
I just it was sunny.
Yeah.
And I just glared my eyes a little bit because it's just a little bit bright. In there.
Yeah.
And, you cleaned it up yesterday and it's all good.
Gross.
Water under the bridge. But it's like without that direct perception of the reality, there can be no resolution of the vikalpa.
And it becomes suffering.
It becomes suffering. Yeah, so much suffering. Because then it's like I think about this story over and over in my head, and then maybe I replay it over and over in my head. And then every time I replay it, it gets worse, right? You didn't just squint your eyes at me, but you raised a fist at me and you yelled at me and said, you're so stupid. And it just it perpetuates and perpetuates. And then I get lost in that story and my whole body feels it as if it's real every single time I play it out.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
crazy.
clinical diagnosis would be anxiety.
Yeah.
You have anxiety. Your mind is moving and creating all of these stories that's causing your body to sit in this state of stress.
Yeah.
But you don't have the capacity to actually just look at the reality.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. And I mean, then with social media and
Yeah.
all of these kinds of things, like social media then starts feeding you all of this false stuff and it starts telling you these stories about yourself.
But even text messaging people and just it's, you can just interpret so much from a text message, and rather than speaking to somebody on the phone and interacting with their tone and their body language, seeing somebody in person, there's so many ways that there's so many more opportunities these days for these vikalpas to just surface as rumination and replaying of conversations, of trauma, of things like that than they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Because of technology.
Well, I mean, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe humans have always done this. And maybe that's why Patañjali was talking about it 1,500 years ago.
Probably, yes.
As an obstacle to yoga.
Yeah.
That it's it's a tendency of the mind, and it's a tendency of all of our minds.
It's true.
And so I think the way to overcome this for us is just to label it, right? To say, this is a story. And then to have the courage to go and seek the truth.
Yeah.
Have that uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
Go and inspect. Go and learn. Go and find someone who can tell you about the truth of this experience that you're having or this object that you're trying to understand.
Yeah.
To go and seek out that truth and shift away from that story so that you can be in the present with it. And usually once that story dissolves because you've recognized, this is just a story I told myself about this person or this experience, then we're liberated.
Yeah.
Right? We're liberated. And this can run so deep, right? It can become the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? The stories like, no one's here for me. No one ever helps me. And therefore our actions, our karmas will spring from that place of I won't even ask for help because I know that no one ever helps me.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is, it's a story.
Yeah, and I think what is my favorite thing to share on vikalpa is understanding how these limiting beliefs or thought patterns have benefited us up until this point. That when we talk about this stuff, like logically, it's like, wow, this sucks. Why do we do this to ourselves? But the truth of the matter is that most of the time we hold these vikalpas so deep because they're a form of protection.
Yeah, they keep us safe.
They keep us safe in a way, that if you're thinking about all this stuff, because I've squinted my eyebrows, to some extent, it's keeping you safe and protected. It's like, be on alert, be a little bit sweeter or whatever the story might be. It's like trying to keep you safe from the potential of harm that doesn't actually exist, but to you, it does. And when we can recognize how these vikalpas have kept us safe and why they're there, like why do we need them to keep us safe? And then we realize, oh, we don't actually need that anymore. Like, thank you so much for helping me and keeping me safe in this way, but it's not necessary anymore. Then we become liberated from them.
100%. This just like, I just wanted to just flag something here is just like, what about in the case of PTSD?
Yeah.
Because PTSD is the deepest level of vikalpa. It's more of a memory thing, right? It's a smriti.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like this memory of the story that then comes up that then puts you into this full-blown panic attack.
Yeah.
And I think for many people who suffer with PTSD, one of the methodologies that can be really helpful is this EMDR, eye movement desensitization, where they bring that memory or that experience or that story into the mind, and they learn to desensitize themselves from the feelings and the emotions that are present within it.
Interesting.
And by doing that, it really does give us this process of yoga, which is watch the story and label it as a story. Watch the vikalpa and label it as vikalpa. Like, this is a figment of my imagination.
Yeah.
This is all in my mind.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily real. And so by recognizing that, I can come back to what's real.
Yeah, for sure. And there's still that validity of like, your feelings being valid and the emotions and response being valid. Like the body, it's having a valid response, but actually like, because I think the tendency can be to like spiritually bypass or disassociate, like, oh, it's not real. Like, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. But it's like, yeah, it's not real, but like my response is still valid and fair. But by starting to realize that it's not real anymore, that the only realness is in this present moment, then you get a little bit closer to liberation.
Exactly. And that's the process of yoga.
Yeah.
Right? The process of yoga is coming into the real. Asatoma satgamaya.
Yeah.
Right? Coming from what's not truth to what's truth.
Yeah.
Tamasoma jyotirgamaya.
Yeah.
To come from darkness into light. And there's that classic story about the rope and the snake. The man's walking through the field and he sees a snake and he's filled with terror, and then the sun rises and he realizes it's a rope. The light that arises, the sun that rises on the horizon in that story is not just the sun, but it's the dawning of awareness.
Yeah.
Right? And yoga asks us to be aware.
Yeah. Your capacity to perceive reality as truth.
And with that awareness comes the transformation of it is not a snake, it is a rope.
Yeah.
And if I see it as a rope, no longer is there this fear.
Yeah.
All right.
Crazy.
So this is what Patañjali says.
Okay.
He first says these 5 ritis, pramarna, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smritayaha, and then he gives a specific teaching on vikalpa. He says, Shabda Jnana Anupati Vastu Shunya Vikalpaha. Vikalpa is knowledge that follows from words alone, empty of an actual object.
Yeah.
Empty of an actual object, empty of any reality.
Yeah.
Right? And the words alone could be words that someone else gives you, words you get from social media, words that you read, but it could also be the dialogue in your head.
Yeah.
Right? Your dialogue then generates that reality.
Yeah.
And it's not the truth. Okay. Then in the Yoga Sūtra, Patañjali gives these layers of samadhi. And these layers of samadhi are this slow releasing of the object, the word that describes that object, and the meaning of those words. This is what he calls nirvitarka samadhi. The first stage, savitarka samadhi, is the samadhi that has the object, the meaning and the words attached to it. It's still a samadhi, but then the next layer is that you remove the words and the meaning behind the object and you just see the object itself, right? It's a way of clearing the mind into direct perception. And so, in that way, the process of meditation is the process of releasing out vikalpas, right? And then even releasing the words and meaning that we give to any object.
It's like then the capacity to be with an experience that has no object, like no truth of reality.
It has no story.
It's interesting.
And the other place that we could place this idea of vikalpa is that story of the snake and the rope.
Yeah.
It comes from Shankaracharya. And so it's just this it's a classic analogy.
Yeah.
You know, rope, snake, the fear of the snake being replaced with the awareness of the rope.
Yeah.
There's a deeper layer to that story where then he looks at the rope more closely and he realizes the rope's not a rope at all. It's just intertwined fibers of hemp.
It's true.
And it's just like that the more you dive into those layers of reality, the more you see and this is the vitarka to nirvitarka is like I told myself that's a rope.
Yeah, true.
And I told myself that the purpose of a rope is to tie things up.
Yeah.
But it's not a rope, right? Rope is a construct. Bless you.
Thank you.
Rope is a construct of the mind. And so if I let go of word and name and just come back to the object, then I can see the strands of hemp bound together.
And I think potentially this is a nice little kind of like summary there. Is like, this is why mantra is such a highly regarded object of our meditation practice, because mantra is not like a word that points to an object like rope is pointing towards intertwined strings of hemp. Mantra is the object itself. And so like the movement from mantra or potentially even deity, mandalam, like this physical manifestation of vibration, to the word, which is the mantra, the syllables, to the experience that is the mantra, it's so like effortless.
And you have to let go of the words.
That progression, that it's not something you have to kind of like just like let go of the words. Like it's like you already have the experience that's been gifted to you by the words, that when the words naturally fall away, you're still experiencing the essence of the mantra. And it's like it makes sense why mantra is such a highly regarded object of our meditation in that way. That say you're not meditating on a candlelight and you have to like remove the word fire or candlelight. Like it's, you know, it's a bit more effortless with mantra.
Yeah, 100%. And that goes for any object of meditation. That's why we choose sattvic objects, because they don't have that story attached to them, and they don't have all of this mental baggage that comes along with them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? Okay. So in Ayurveda, you always say that all disease starts in the mind.
It's true.
Right? And so how would vikalpa then be the cause of disease?
Yeah, I mean, it is the cause of disease. Like vikalpa is the cause of disease. And like this rumination and this pulling away from reality is so detrimental to our health. We're not present, we're not breathing, we're not eating, we're not like engaging consciously with our physical experience. And when we're not consciously engaging with our physical experience, we're like, where are we? We're almost dead. You know what I mean? Like there's so much disassociation that comes with vikalpa that it makes it hard to live. And when it's hard to live, like the prana stops flowing, the dhatus get, with poor quality, the tissues become poor and unstable. It's just the root of all disease with the mind. It's like we have to be able to purify the mind, because even as we spoke about in the last few episodes, this idea of like manifestation, like whatever our thoughts are, like we will create the reality of.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's the same with disease and illness, and that actually that there's so much belief in the Ayurvedic science that these diseases will always correlate with a thought or an emotion that we're holding. That, like, you know, you could liken it, it's like Louise Hay kind of vibes. It's like, you know, if you're having struggles with constipation, it's like you're struggling to like let go in life. And it seems so cliche and so like whatever, but it's like there's so much truth in it. Like, we have to be able to purify the mind and work through these vikalpas in order to have health, in order to have swastha.
Yeah. And I think so many of us kind of trick ourselves into doing things that are not healthy by telling a story,
Exactly.
right? It's like coffee is not healthy if you're drinking 5 coffees a day, but it's like, oh, no, I can handle it because my heritage
I'm
is
Italian.
Yeah. And it's like, I need coffee to live. I can't function without coffee.
And, you know, maybe DNA definitely has a part to play in that for sure. But
yeah, but can't function without coffee is an absolute lie.
Yes,
that
for
is
sure.
Pure imagination.
Yeah.
You'll be fine without coffee. You might have a couple of hard weeks
Yeah.
or a couple of hard months, but you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And your digestive system is probably going to be better off because your appetite will return.
Yeah.
You'll start eating a more appropriate amount of food.
Yeah.
You know, but it's so common that, and especially around kind of eating, where it's like you create a story about why you can eat this thing that deep down you know is unhealthy for you. But by telling yourself that lie every single day, you are contributing to your illness.
Yes,
or
agreed.
to contribute to create the conditions for an illness or a disease to arise.
Yes. And I think like the way out of this and the power is just bringing your awareness to it. It's what we've been talking about this whole episode. But even with eating, you know, when people are snacking, or even a lot of times we give this analogy with cigarette smoking too, is that when you like, and somebody wants to quit smoking, then we tell them, okay, well, don't stop smoking unless you can go cold turkey, but probably doubt it. But actually, when you have a cigarette, have it with complete presence. No distraction on your phone, no talking to somebody, no watching TV, no driving, nothing. When you have a cigarette, you sit down and have the cigarette and be completely present with it. That like by doing that, you're bringing awareness to it. And most likely you'll be bringing awareness to some uncomfortable feelings that might be related to it, or some symptoms that might be related to it. And then it becomes a little bit harder to keep choosing those things that pull us away from health.
I've only ever met one person who's not addicted to cigarettes
Really?
and just has 1 cigarette a day as an intentional wind down.
Really? Oh yeah, true. I was like, who is that? Well, now I know.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting thing to just be like, this is an enjoyable present experience that I wish to have for myself.
Yeah.
It's a totally different approach
Yeah.
to like, I'm just going to smash a pack of ciggies every day to push this existential dread down deep inside of myself and not have to think about it.
And that's the thing. It's like it's all about the belief. So it's like for that person that just sees the cigarette smoking as an intentional wind down, probably will never get sick from smoking.
Well, there's so many old people at 98, 100 years old that still smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
They say it's because I smoke the cigarettes that I'm so healthy.
Yeah. But it's not. It's their mindset.
Yeah.
It's their mindset. But for most people, the people that are smoking cigarettes are people that are trying to hide uncomfortable feelings, or they're like smoking and feeling guilty about smoking. That's worse.
Yeah.
Smoking and feeling guilty about smoking is worse than just smoking.
Yeah. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it.
Just
like
enjoy
it'll
your
be
life.
better for you. Like isn't that just crazy? I love that idea, but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's like
And
either enjoy it or quit.
as damaging as smoking a cigarette a day is replaying a conversation 17 times after you've had it in your head and creating things about what that person said that aren't even true.
It's the same.
You know? Having anxiety about an event that is going to happen in the future.
It's as bad as having a cigarette.
It's bad. Just sit down and have a cigarette. No, don't. Just sit down and take some calming breaths. Come back to reality.
But isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And so it's like those vikalpas, they exhaust us. They exhaust the entire system. They put so much pressure and so much stress on the nervous system that then starts to eat away at the organs.
Yeah.
Right? So where in your life are you mistaking the snake for the rope? That's the question I want to leave you with. Like, and when you mistake the rope for the snake, how does that feel in your body? Right? Because I think a lot of the time with the vikalpas, they elicit uncomfortable feelings
For sure.
in us when we experience them.
Yeah.
So listen to those thoughts, you know, don't just have them in the background as your subconscious beliefs, but bring them up to the surface and inspect them. Why do I do this? What belief do I hold about myself that continues to make me act in this way? What is the lesson that I'm tired of learning? And what story am I telling myself about that kind of experience? If you can just begin that process of being intentional and bringing these things into the light, your life will change in so many ways that you can't even possibly imagine yet. And I would advise you not to imagine.
It's powerful work.
Yeah. So get out of your head, get into your body, do your yoga practice and allow it to liberate you. And if you appreciate what we do here on the podcast, please support us in some way. We actually got monetized a couple of weeks ago and I didn't turn the ads on.
Okay, yeah.
Because I don't want you to be listening to ads about gambling or sports bet or something like that. I can't control what ads. So even though I can turn on ads, I'm not turning on ads. And the reason for that is because we want this to be something that you benefit from.
Yeah.
But we can't do it for free. We have to buy all this gear. We have to put this time into this podcast. So if you have it within your means to support us in some way, go sign up to Sadhana Sangha. Go sign up to a training. Do something that will support us so that we can continue to offer this podcast to you.
We couldn't do it without you.
And share it with a friend. Hari Om.
Hari Om.